but then we also do distribution all around the world. And everywhere from India to Africa to Europe to you name it. So we'll talk about that because at that point that would be appropriate.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because still the research will go on.
Yeah.
Once we speak,
yes.
we will not talk to anybody about distribution.
Yes.
I mean, other than you.
Yes.
No, because once we talk and we know, okay, we have a channel, I would
Yeah.
definitely like to go with that.
Yeah.
For me, you were something that is something on a platter, and I really accepted. Yeah, why not?
Well, distribute all kinds of things.
All kinds of things. We do books, we do publishing, we put speakers on international platforms, and you're, in front of sometimes Richard Branson's people, anywhere from 10,000 to 40,000. I've done crowds that are 140,000. So it depends what you want to do. We also teach about setting up profit nonprofits and how to play between the two, because a lot of people don't understand that it's much more valuable to be able to play between the two, between profit and nonprofit. So stuff like that.
So you distribute my books as well?
That kind of stuff too.
Oh, thank you.
So do all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Another question.
Hi. Sorry, I came in late, so you were amazing the last 5 minutes I heard you. Just a quick question: did you find that there was at any point a turning point in your life where you were a certain person, and all of a sudden you changed to become this person that was a real leader and that was a real kind of like, were you know what I mean? Like, was there some sort of a transforming point in your life?
I think.
Sorry, I have a second part
Okay,
to that.
go ahead.
The second part to that is there anything that you did? For example, did you take any type of courses? Did you get a mentor? Did you so if there's any types of tips or suggestions that you have to sort of move from, where some of us could be now to being, a really great leader. If you have any type of tips, that would be awesome if you could share those.
Okay. I think one of the things that I really came up against was because my mom never owned a business. And so she never, when I went to own a business, my very first thing, I always had used clothing, and I can remember waiting at the end of this driveway, for the girls to come out with the trash bags and hand me the clothing and stuff like that. And so my very first business, I went to my mom, I said, Mom, there's this storefront and it's open. I'd really love to own a clothing business, I love clothes because I never had clothes. And so, not new clothes. And I said, that would be so much fun. And she said, you can't do that. Why would you want to do that? And I said, huh? She said, why would you want to do that? First off, you'd have to be there 24/7. I said, but wait a minute. I said, I know that it's more than just like movie stars and rich people that have multiple businesses. Why do I have to buy that paradigm? She said, well, somebody would have to run it. You can't trust them. They'd be handling your money. You can't trust anybody handling your money. And I was like, what? No, wait a minute. And again, I was like, I don't buy the paradigm. I don't know how it works, but I know other people do it. And so, one of the things that definitely assisted me is I worked with Bob Proctor when I was younger. And then I went on and I studied Warren Buffett. And because I wanted to understand the multiple businesses, especially having a mom that worked 3 blue-collar jobs, as a laborer, and never was in the corporate arena or owned a business. And I think one of the biggest things for me is I have got a female mentor. And I said, how do I do this? Because she understood me. And I think that was really paved a lot of the way, because I looked at the way the guys operate, and I went, they operate the way they operate, and it was kind of like, oh, you're cute, sure, you can learn this. And I was like, all right, and I was just being a sponge, but, I think a female mentor really, that's kind of where I started to step into it. And I started to really go to a place of understanding my authentic self without all the paradigms of how it's supposed to look, or how it's supposed to work, or where I'm supposed to fit, or any of that. And it was, who is Shelley? what calls my heart? What gives me energy? Like, what feeds me? You know, what is it? Music? Is it nature? Is it like, and I'm constantly checking in so that I would energetically have, you know, the energy to do it, and then I connected with another female mentor. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does,
Okay.
And when you connected with a female mentor, I guess you connected with someone that you sort of looked up to and sort of like they did what you, like how, can you?
I actually followed my intuition a lot,
Okay.
because we can never see in somebody else
Right.
what we don't have in ourselves.
Mhm.
So it's like you've got to look at it and go, who has something that I want?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you
Okay.
resonate with them.
Right.
And when you resonate with them, it'll go. You know, it was like I understudied Warren Buffett for 3 years and followed him around. But I didn't really resonate. Like, I learned some mechanics about business, which was great and invaluable, but I didn't resonate. I still wasn't like fully like, let's step into the leader of
Who do you
where.
resonate with, like as far as like a Warren Buffett, Tony Robbins, you know, who is it that you personally resonate with?
Oh, did I resonate with?
Yeah, I mean, like who do you, like, you know,
I have,
follow?
yeah, no, not Donald Trump. I'm like, ooh, no. I don't even understand that. I'm still perplexed over that. He did bring awareness, though, to politics. Gotta hand him that. However, the rest is just not funny. It's so ironically.
Is there anyone specifically or?
I think there's multiple, now where I'm at, I think there's multiple people. Like I'm with Gloria Steinem in September. Gloria Steinem is the founder of Ms. Magazine. You know, so there's so, and I'm speaking, sharing a stage with her in September. So there's several people. You know, I understudied Mother Teresa a lot because I wanted to understand her story. And I really loved let me hear and let me respond with less lag time. And it's kind of what led her to go, you know, I want to bring awareness to the poor. You know, and so I think it's hear and respond. You know, our intuition is so incredible. You know, and sometimes I go, why am I here? Like literally, I woke up like 2 days ago, I was like, why am I in India? And maybe it's to connect with you, maybe it's to connect with you. I just knew I was, or you, right? I'm just like, why am I here? But if I have a doubt, what I do is I close my eyes, I feel my body. I shut off my mind, but I feel. And if everything is congruent, I step. When in doubt, the answer is no, but it can't be a doubt in here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
You know, because you'll always be guided. As long as you're truly authentically being who you are with a good intention,
Yeah,
you're
makes sense.
gonna get led. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One question. Something which I also experienced. That on your way up, when you are going up the ladder of leadership, did you ever feel the need that you need some support or motivation from men?
Oh, of course.
You must have taken because
Absolutely.
without them, you
Absolutely.
need that support.
I needed their bioidentical hormones. I'm having a heat flash. No. Yes. And I think it's totally needed.
Absolutely.
Right?
So we have a lot of research which acknowledges that talking about women's issues alone to women is not good enough. And you need men to support the women's issues to ensure that more women are encouraged to move to different levels and different places in this world. Also, it is a reality that 90% of the corporate world top positions are held by men.
Yes.
So women talking to a bunch of women is really not going to be helpful. You have to talk to the men. And there is a lot of research and there is a lot of effort being put together to encourage men to become supporters of women initiatives today. In
Yeah.
fact, we
But
have an
it
upcoming
doesn't
conference
happen.
happening
I
in
think
July.
Yeah.
it's
It's imperative. It is imperative.
It didn't happen. It happens when the men have already reached the top, like at the chairman's level or the executive director's level. But if the men are also at the middle management level, and or probably at the same platform like you are, then they don't support. I have experienced
Well,
it.
I'm
I'm
not-
sorry,
and
even at the senior management level, at the board level, or at the chairman level, men are not as inclusive as we would like to be.
They are not, but
They
at
are
least
not.
that level they are confident enough.
No.
But in the middle level they are even
It is still
less.
a old boys school network.
Yes.
In fact, at the what we have seen as change is when they have ambitious women in their life, either as a wife or as a daughter. And even more than wives, the daughters create a lot of impact in the minds of the fathers to create that path for their daughters. They start looking at things differently. But let me tell you again, not all fathers with daughters are willing to take the risk. For some, their money and their power is more important than letting their daughters have it all. Yep. They just do.
So, that being said, I grew up in a Hispanic family in which when I was 18 and a senior in high school and my brother was 16, he was getting a car and I was riding the bus.
That's quite common across in India or a lot of Asia as well.
So, I'm here today to make a difference. And what would you say to someone who doesn't have a college education but who's here to make a difference?
You know what? I came to realize it is not about education. It is not about money. And people drive me nuts in the United States or in the UK when they go, you want to start a business, go get $100,000 and come back to us. Go get a business plan and come back to us. But by the time you open the business plan is crap anyway. So it's not about education. It's not about money. It's not how tall I am, how short I am, how big my butt is. I can say that because only a camera guy can. Okay? That has nothing to do with it. There are ways we've done over 100,000 women where we've opened businesses in 24 hours. Without money, without education. You see it in a lot of the villages. I've seen it in villages in Africa where I've gone in. It's amazing. So if you're, you know, like every one of us has a gift and talent in this room. And it's a unique gift and talent. And what is it? And there's a way to monetize it. Because it's unique. And how do we share it with others, whether it's health or whether it's understanding wealth or whether it's finance or whether it's books and educational products, or what is it? So what is it that is your unique gift? Because all you gotta do is be able to package it up and put it out there in the right way. So don't buy any of those confines, that's all I'm saying.
And also there are a lot of examples around us where not a college educated person has really done very well for himself or herself. And like she said, that your idea and your authentic self and your drive is what is going to take you to the next step. And believe me, education can take you only till thus far and no further. Whether you are a Harvard educated person or you are a local school dropout or anybody. It only depends on your drive, your authenticity,